All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday to you. It is the fourth day of Inktober. We're going to do this page. This is what the dots look like. We just need to make sure we have something in those spaces. Did not make a plan. So we're just going to go for it. I'm going to clip this so that it doesn't flop open while I'm drawing. Shall we do a grid? Haven't done a grid in a long time. Shall we do a grid? Let's do a grid. All right, let's make a border around this page. We're going to do a grid. And because we're going to do a grid, I don't need the circles, because the whole inside will be filled. It will have plenty of stuff going on inside each circle. So I don't need those. Let's erase those so they don't distract me. All right, what kind of grid do I want? Shall I do a regular grid, a wonky grid, diagonal grid? Let's do a diagonal grid. Let's do one that goes this way. And then this way. Is it completely symmetrical? No. All right, what should we put there? Shall we start with Bales? Let me look up Bales. Tangle pattern Bales. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Okay. We're doing Bales, folks. I'm going to use an 05 size for my drawing. Let's go. I'm gonna be bold and put the word. And my signature before I even draw. And I know this is going to be a challenge for you to see. It's a challenge for me to draw because the book is getting to the point where I have more on the completed side than I have on the uncompleted side, and it's really difficult to draw on because it's all bouncy. But we are just gonna go for it, right? And if we have some woggles, well, then we have woggles. If you are here for the first time, welcome. My name is Dawn. I do pattern-based drawing for the most part, but sometimes I do other stuff. Welcome in. If when you get to the end of this video you like my content, please give me a thumbs up. If you decide you don't like my content, go ahead and give me a thumbs down. That's okay too. You won't hurt my feelings. I am not for everybody. It's okay. All right, a nice big bold line, and then I think I want a thinner. Let's use my 02 to do a thinner. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make a rice-like shape from corner to corner, like that. on every single one of these little lines. That is Bales. And then you embellish however you want to embellish. I always start on a full line and not a partial line, and then I go back and I fill in that partial line because they all tend to get a rhythm to them, and I can match that rhythm better after the fact, if that makes sense. Yeah, did you know that a large proportion of people who watch YouTube don't subscribe to any channels? There are people out there who just refuse to subscribe, which is fine, absolutely fine. You do not have to subscribe if you don't want to. There are some channels I watch that I have not subscribed to. Not very many, though. And usually, my husband and I watch YouTube on our TV, and it kind of depends on whose channel we are on as to what videos we're watching, but we are sometimes subscribed, both of us, to the same person. And then it gets kind of confusing, so we tend to just change whose channel we're watching on as we watch. So if I turn on the TV, then I start on my channel. We watch all the people that we both like to watch together on my channel, and then we switch to his channel. And that's how we do it. So sometimes I'm not subscribed because it will pop up on my feed some of the things that he likes to watch, because we are both sharing a television, so we're sharing an internet connection, and it seems to know that all of this video watching came from the same internet address. So I tend to get recommendations from types of stuff that he watches, and he tends to get recommendations for types of stuff that I watch. It's a little confusing, but we make it work. I like how it becomes like a circle. When you do it with just pencil lines here and you don't draw the line in bold, rather than being called Bales, it's called Circle of Life, and you can see why, because it creates a circle. And you can make your erase shapes bigger or smaller. I tend to make them kind of skinny. I need to turn around. This is one of the simpler patterns to draw, but it looks really complex when you're finished, which is why I really like this one. This one and Cadent, two of my favorites for that, and Paradox, for the simple fact that they are super easy to draw, but look really complicated when they're finished. And then once you're finished drawing this part, then you can embellish Now I can decide if I want to put something in the middle of here, and I think I will. Let me see what that looks like for those. What do I want to do? And I think I'm going to do quote-unquote stitching. I'm going to use my, oh goodness sakes, my pen. Let's use the red one, shall we? I think the red one. And I am going to stitch French knots and little crosses like that in each of my things, so that when you see it through the hole, yeah, it looks like stitching. Okay, we're going to do that. I'm sort of giving a nod to the original dots from Jerri's channel. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, go back and check my playlist for Dot Journal, because that's what I'm working in. If you're just here for Inktober, welcome. Most times, I just pick up my pen and draw. Sometimes I do a little bit of pre-planning in pencil, but most of the time, even after I've pre-planned in pencil, I don't follow those lines very well anyways, so it's funny. Oh, I connected those, and these I didn't have connected. I guess I'm going to connect them then, because that doesn't look great if they're not connected. Alrighty then. We've changed how we do things here. That's all right. What was I saying? Oh, on our Facebook page, when I share these pages from my journal, a lot of people will say, "What kind of stitch is that?" I was like, "It's not a stitch. It's just pen and ink." I'm not sure that you can stitch what I just did in an actual stitch. I try to do things that would be actual stitches, but not always. If I was sewing, this is exactly the sloppiness that would happen, which is one of the reasons I kind of being loose with it, because I don't stitch very often. I have not done any significant textile art forms in, gosh, close to 20 years, I imagine. I used to do cross stitch like all the time. I have some really big pieces up on my walls in my family room, and they're really pretty, but they are, oops, what did I just do? I don't know. Come on. This really needs another one going this way. Oh, and I missed one here in this corner too. Did you guys yell at me for missing this one? I usually find it eventually. Yeah, like I said, I used to do a lot of cross stitch. It was something I could do I'm not liking that, whatever that one is. That's okay. It was something I could do while I was watching my son when he was little. I could do while we were watching TV. I want to do a little shadow on this side, I think. Let's do this pencil. I'm going to start with this and see what happens. And then I finished that last project and I started another one, and then I put it down partway in the middle, and it's just sitting there. It's been sitting there a long, long time. I'm not too sure why I stopped, and maybe I'll pick it up again after I'm finished working. You know, the other thing is back when my son was little, I didn't work full time. I only worked part time, and I think that's when I put it down. Now that I'm really thinking about it, I think when I went to full time, when my husband lost his job, let's see, my son was about 5 when my husband lost his job, and I had to go working full time. And even though he found other employment, it took a really, really long time. It was during those years of recession when nobody was hiring, and it was a tough period of time. Was well over a year, and then he never did find a job that had benefits again. So I was the only one who had benefits, so I had to stay working full time. Just how life worked for us. That's okay. But it meant that I was actually just too exhausted. And then once my son started school, and we had school things and kid activities, science fairs and all that kind of jazz, life got busy. And between working full-time and kiddoing full-time, I think I just ran out of me time. So I started this YouTube channel. I found pattern-based art. Oh, I think my son was in high school. So by then, he was driving himself places. He didn't need my help for homework for very many things other than looking over his English papers and his reports and checking his spelling and his grammar. But for the most part, he was sort of independent. And I found pattern-based drawing, and it really just it tickled something in my brain. I'm not sure what, and I have stuck with it, which is something that I don't usually do. I've always flitted from project to project. Sometimes I would do painting, sometimes I would do textile arts. Sometimes I would do drawing. And this is the first one that's really stuck for like a really, really long time. You know, that's subtle, but it really works. I like that. I think I'm going to, I hope I don't ruin this. I think I'm going to put a red shadow going the other way. Let's hope that this doesn't really goof up what I'm thinking. No, that's subtle, that's fine. So I started my YouTube channel when my son was basically grown, and now he's out of the house, so I have time for this, but this is basically the only thing I have time for. I occasionally will paint. I really like doing mixed media art, but I really haven't sat down and done any in a really long time. What I'd like to do is maybe once I'm retired, I've got plans. I got plans for once I'm retired. A couple more years, and then I will continue with this YouTube channel, but maybe make a second one for my other interests, and maybe do more painting or mixed media. I really like mixed media, and work on my mixed media stuff more. Don't think I'll pick up cross stitch again, but you never know. I might. I've been working on this darn puzzle that we're almost finished with. The 18,000 piece puzzle is taking me 2 years to put together. I really like that. Out of my living room. I've got these two great big old 6-foot tables in the middle of my living room, and they've been there for 2 years. We only pack them up and take them down for holidays, and for the rest of the year they're up. And I'd really like to finish that. People are saying, well, what are you going to do with that puzzle when you're finished? Well, I am going to follow Karen Puzzle's method of taking it apart in bits and pieces and taping it so that I can put it back together in big chunks if I ever want to put it back together. But I'm not going to ever do the puzzle again as a puzzle. So I'm going to do that. We're going to take it to my church and put it out in the floor of the fellowship hall so I can take pictures, because there's no place in my house where I can put all 4 panels together, because each panel is 4 pieces of foam board, the poster board, 4 pieces of poster board per quarter. So that's 16 pieces of poster board. It's almost the size of a 4x8 sheet of plywood. I have no place in my house to put that down and get far enough back to take a picture. So we're going to do that at church, but I'm getting closer. I've probably got about maybe 1,000 pieces, maybe a little less than 1,000 pieces left. So hopefully in the next week or 2, I will be finished, and then I can do the whole tape thing, and then we can take it over to the church. All right, well, here we go. There's the bales. That's what it looks like. This is what it's going to look like through the holes, and we will see what I come up with tomorrow for that side. This is a fairly simple one. So you guys have a blessed day. Go out and do something nice for someone today. Make the world a better place, one person at a time. And I will see you on the next video. Whatever I decide to do, I will think about it on the fly. All right, you guys have a blessed day. Stay safe, everybody. Bye-bye.